Hey everyone, welcome to the Bruce Williams channel. Today in this watch review, I'm going to show you a Scottish micro brand called Marloe Watch Company. This is the Pacific 52, and I've really enjoyed my time with this. I've had it for about 3 weeks now, and in full disclosure, I was gifted this watch in exchange for this video, but we're going to do a giveaway of the watch, and I'll announce that at the end of the presentation. But again, I've enjoyed my time with this Pacific 52 from Marloe Watch Company. This is a Scottish micro brand based in Kinross, north of Edinburgh in Scotland. And this is a Swiss-made watch. So it's UK designed, but it's Swiss-made. And it's very clean. It's very well executed. It's a little bit nicer than the average upstart brand or micro brand that I've featured here on the channel. It carries a little bit higher of a retail price at $1,400. But there are some nice things at play here. And in this presentation, I'm going to talk about the details. I'm going to talk about the design language. I'm going to talk about my opinions, the positives, as well as the negatives or the areas for improvement for this Pacific 52. And again, at the end of the video, I'm going to announce the giveaway of this watch. So let's start with dimensions. We have 40.1 millimeters of diameter with an overall lug-to-lug dimension of 48.0 and an overall case height, including the box sapphire crystal, of 12.3. Now, because of the box sapphire crystal and how much it adds to the height of the watch, it actually wears thinner than the dimension would indicate. It's nice and trim and proportional and elegant feeling on wrist. And for reference, my wrists are 7.25 inches in circumference. If you take the height of the crystal out, the overall height of the watch goes down to 8.9 millimeters. And so hopefully that gives you an idea of how thin and comfortable and sharp this watch is on wrist. We have 20 millimeter lugs, which is a nice, common, even size. I know a lot of you like to accessorize with straps. You have impressive strap collections. This would be easy to change the look of, just with changing the strap out. And I think this is a versatile look. It's a clean, balanced design. There isn't a date here on the watch on the domed dial. We have applied Arabic markers done in a gilt tone. And overall, I think it's proportional and balanced. Like I mentioned, if we go in on a macro level, you guys can see a clean execution. I don't see imperfections. I don't see dust. I don't see particulates. That is unfortunately fairly common as I film macro video of various watches at the affordable, mid-level, and luxury price segments. This one carries almost a sandpaper texture. It's not rough, it's not gritty, but you can see there is a little bit of texture, and there are small flecks of reflection found on this kind of ivory tone, a good backdrop for these applied Arabic markers. Another thing I like about the dial is the fact that we don't have text here for the sake of having text. I think some brands like to advertise water resistance and the name of the model, and if it's a mechanical or an automatic. And, sometimes we almost get a novel displayed on the dial from some brands, but this one just has the logo, Marloe Watch Company, below the 12 o'clock, and then has Swiss made down below the 6 o'clock applied Arabic. So it's clean and it's well laid out. My only critique here of the dial is perhaps the logo. It seems a little bit large. Maybe that needs to be scaled down a small degree to aid in the traditionality and the elegance of the execution aesthetically. Because if we look at the design language, this was loosely inspired by an aircraft, a futuristic aircraft from the 1950s called the de Havilland Comet, which is, I'll drop in a couple pictures here. It's a pretty sharp looking aircraft. And if we look at this, we can see that, this looks like it would fit back in the 1950s, back in that era. And there's nothing hokey or gimmicky about the design inspiration. We're not seeing a piece of the aircraft bolted onto the watch, or we're not seeing something just completely lifted without nuance in that translation. And so, apart from the fact that this is a larger watch at 40.1 millimeter, I think this design, the Pacific 52, would be at home back in the 50s, back 70 years ago, back on maybe a pilot's wrist or a patron's wrist, sitting in a de Havilland Comet, traveling maybe from the UK to Europe or something like that. I could see that happening here with this design. Now let's talk about the movement. We have a Sellita SW215-1 Handwind caliber, which is based off of the ETA 2824. Obviously, this is Handwind, and this does not have the date execution. We have a 28,800 beat per hour rate, 19 joules, and a little bit longer of a power reserve compared to a 2824 of 40 hours. The acceptable daily deviation window for accuracy is -8 to +15 seconds per day. So when you consider that with the retail price of $1,400, I would say it's not great, but it's better than some brands. It's more tidy and tight than Oris and then Seiko, which I think are strong competitors at the mid-level or mid-$1,000 price segment. So it's not the best, but it's also not the worst. Now continuing here, I think there is a design element that I like. It's unique, and it might be my favorite element of the watch, and it's the exhibition crystal on the case back. And I've seen some interesting executions from various brands over the years. I've seen curved sapphire, I've seen a box sapphire, but this is the first time that I've seen a domed sapphire on the exhibition window. So if you look at it from an oblique angle, you can see that Handwind Sellita movement distorted, and it almost has a magnifying effect of the overall movement. And I'd say that this is not uncomfortable. Like there's no hot spot here as you have this on wrist, because the weight, the pressure is not being placed in the center of the domed crystal, because that crystal is sunk into the case back, which is sculpted and polished and carries a nice flow to it. It's a bolt-on case back, and so I think there's a lot of visual interest here. And it's an interesting and fun, different way to look at a handwind movement that carries some basic finishing, vertical brushing. There really isn't anything traditionally beautiful about the execution or the decoration of the movement, but the way it's displayed, it's unique, and I like it. Now let's take a look at a couple other unique design elements, and then we'll get to areas for improvement. But if we take a look at this case, we can see three different finishing. We can see high polish, we can see brush, and then we can see a blasted finish. And if we look at the side profile of the watch, we almost have in profile the cross section of the wing of that de Havilland Comet, which I think is nice. It's not a one-to-one, it's just loosely inspired, and I think you guys can see that translated here in the execution. If we take a look at the crown, we have a twisted texture to the handwind crown at the 3 o'clock position, and then there's a concave form with a signature of the Marloe Watch Company, again in the crown at the 3 o'clock, and it's almost the reverse of the front or the nose of that de Havilland Comet. So nice little details found here throughout the watch: the dome dial, the box crystal, the case, the tri-finishing, the twisted texture, and obviously the domed exhibition case back in that bolt-on polished area. So I think, again, a lot to enjoy here. I've really enjoyed my time with this. I've had about 3 weeks with this specific 52 from the Marloe Watch Company. And now let's talk about things that I would like to see improved with this specific model. Anytime I'm spending over $1,000 on a watch, I really value a bracelet to be included. And I know that raises the overall price, and it might not be feasible with a new brand or a relatively young brand to invest in that type of R&D and that type of production. But if I'm spending $1,400, I would love to see a nice bracelet that is period authentic or would feel at home in the 1950s paired with this case, with this dial, because again, it's strong, it's balanced, it's versatile, and a good bracelet I think could take this to the next level. Now, one other thought: if you're not selling a lot of watches, a high production volume, I think it could be feasible to pay a watchmaker to regulate this movement to a higher degree than the -8 to +15 seconds per day. So if this was close to chronometer levels of accuracy, came with a bracelet, maybe had a little bit more finish work displayed in the movement, in that exhibition movement, I would really enjoy wearing this. I already think it's strong as is, but it could be taken to the next level. And lastly, I'll just show you the packaging that it comes on. It's a little bit unique. You guys can see the box Marloe Watch Company, and then you lift this area that carries your serial, your warranty card, the booklet, and you can flip it over and see the logo for the brand, which is Beyond Expectation. done in a nice leather that's sewn on to this textured top portion of the box. I think that's cool. I think that's a little bit different. I've not seen something exactly like this from another brand. And I hope you guys have enjoyed the presentation here on the Scottish micro brand, the Marloe Watch Company, the Pacific 52. Please reach out with any questions you might have. And there will be links in the description to their social media, to their website, if you would like to look at the other color versions and other watch designs that this Scottish micro brand has produced to date. Now, lastly, let's talk about the giveaway. I do a monthly giveaway, and this month I'm giving away 2 watches. This is one of the watches that I will be giving away. And all you have to do to be eligible for the giveaway is to support me on Patreon. It's only $6 a month. You're eligible for the giveaway. You have access to my Discord server, and we have a nice little community there. So stay tuned for the giveaway video. Within the next couple weeks, I'll announce the winners. I take the email from everybody in the Patreon group, and I place it in wheelofnames.com, and we just do a random spin. And if your name pops up as the winner, you win the watch, and you can do with it as you please. So guys, links in the description. Thank you very much for watching today. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.